connaît, on voulait ouais nous content. On voulait ouais nous prospérer. Entre chasse, nous c'est visionnaire.
Avec SOS plan en place, tout le monde a fouillé pour l'idée. Y'a pas collé où c'est un nom qui ni vision pour pays. C'est Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Y'a l'idée qui ni tête bien solide pour qu'arranger tout bagaille qui pas bon pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Où j'ai montré nous capables avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a ouais ou voulait sauver nous qu'a senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie besoin yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide pour qu'arranger toute bagaille qui pas bon pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. J'ai montré nous capables avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a ouais ou voulait sauver nous qu'a senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide pour qu'arranger tout bagaille qui pas bon pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Merci en que chasse pour l'amour, pour respect, pour tout peuple là. Nous besoin pour sauver pays. Nous voulons ouais Saint-Lucie briller.
Nous connaît, on voulait ouais nous content. On voulait ouais nous prospérer. Entre chasse, nous c'est visionnaire.
Avec SOS plan en place, tout le monde a fouillé pour l'idée. Y'a pas collé où c'est un nom qui ni vision pour pays. Saint-Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Y'a l'idée qui ni tête bien solide pour qu'arranger tout bagaille qui pas bon pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Où j'ai montré nous capables avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a ouais ou voulait sauver nous qu'a senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie besoin yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide pour qu'arranger toute bagaille qui pas bon pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. J'ai montré nous capables avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a ouais ou voulait sauver nous nous ka senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie, besoin ou en cœur chasse, yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide, ou ka ranger tout bagaille qui pas bon, pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Merci en cœur chasse pour l'amour, pour respect, pour tout peuple là. Nous besoin pour sauver pays. Nous voulons ouais Saint-Lucie briller.
Why them Lucians so make them this?
Suipui, some 2.5% HCSL thing is a tax vibe.
So what that have to do with people getting meg? But just now, to me them people paying VAT already.
Exactly. The tax is calculated on the cost of goods. So one time, the price go increase, Uma. The Lucians end up paying more than 15%.
Mama!
Gasa, just imagine $100 go buy less groceries. People getting poor. Things like rent and utility bills go also increase, Gasa.
Real Malawi vibe?
All them things the people doing to stay healthy, like gym, healthy eating, and safety and security, go be harder to get because people ain't have money.
Partner, if them people ain't have enough money, they ain't go have leftover food for us to eat. The bins go be empty. Wow!
Things real happening to them Lucians. Look out for us again soon. We go show you all more. Malwat.
Why them Lucians so make them
On
this?
Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Olliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines. We cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, deep out of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media. The news you report. Caribbean American.
They stream the tears and the cheers so clear. From the church to the pitch, they're always near. Tie the knot or score the goal, my friend. GVD TV's got you till the end. They stream the highs, they stream the lows, from wedding vows to final shows, through life's twists and the path it bends. GVD's there, it never ends.
Welcome to the Caribbean American News Media Show, your premier destination for in-depth coverage, engaging discussions, and entertaining segments showcasing the rich tapestry of Caribbean American culture. Join us as we explore a wide range of topics, from current events and community spotlights to arts, music, cuisine, and more. Our show features exclusive interviews with influencers, artists, community leaders, and everyday heroes who are making a difference in the Caribbean American community. Stay informed and inspired with our thought-provoking segments that highlight the diversity, resilience, and creativity within our community. Tune into the Caribbean American News Media Show for a captivating blend of news, entertainment, and storytelling that celebrates the Caribbean American experience. Get ready to discover new perspectives, celebrate successes, and connect with the heartbeat of the Caribbean American community. Don't miss a moment of the action. Stay tuned to Caribbean American News Media Show for an immersive viewing experience like no other. Hashtag Caribbean American News, hashtag show, hashtag cultural celebration.
You are viewing Caribbean American News Media on YouTube and on Facebook. You can also find us on 360 Radio. Your host for tonight is Garfield Olliver. Let's get to work.
Well, a pleasant good night to all our viewers here on Caribbean American News. We are live on the air, and we say, to God be the glory, of course. So it's a good thing that we are among the living, and we give God thanks, and we give him praise, and we declare great is his faithfulness. Of course, great is his faithfulness. But I want to welcome all to the platform. It is the news that you report, and you're in tune to Caribbean American News Media Platform, live on YouTube and Facebook, and also our GVD channel 115, that is Flow. Here's wishing you a beautiful evening as you ride it out with us here on the platform. Again, I want to send my greetings over to Mr. Sotter and his entire family from Denry. And those of you who are viewing from around the region, around the world, wherever you're viewing us from, remember that Caribbean American News is your number one on this space, on this time. All right? That's why we always ask you to watch the space. You got to watch the space, my friend. So share the live and tag a friend as you join. If you have not followed and liked any of the platforms, folks, it is time for you to do that, because you are missing out on very important updates. Again, we want to bring you greetings. I am your host for tonight, Garfield Olliver. I am the owner and producer and everything of Caribbean American News. I am a freelance journalist here with you as we follow latest on breaking news and developments. And I am sure tonight we're going to be stuck in gear based on what I am seeing. But greetings. Jean Francis, happy to see me. I am happy to see you too. I'm happy to see all of us. Remember that life is uncertain, all right? Live your life to please God and not to please men, all right? So thank you so much for all the love, your dedication, and your support. And to our YouTube viewers, we want to again reach out to you. We do apologize last week for a glitch in our system that has been rectified on your end, and therefore I'm also pleased that we are also, and some people will confirm with us, that we are live on the GVD TV 116. That is Flow. Those of you who are viewing us from your big television in the room, yes, or in the kitchen, wherever you're viewing us from, folks. You're on the job, yes. To all our security guards, I want to greet you tonight. I want to wish you a good night. Not a good night's sleep, of course. You're supposed to be up. Not a good night's sleep, but I want to wish you a beautiful night, and I hope that all goes well with you. Yes, I'm drinking water, and I'm drinking it very often. Water keeps us healthy, and you better believe that. Now, before I do my rant for tonight, I want to greet Cecile Herman. Greetings to you over there on our Facebook. Martin Roseman, greetings to you. Veronica, Mary, greetings. Cheryl, greetings. Lance, greetings. Laurencia, my Dudu Beth is in the house. Me Dudu Beth moi she's off here ma lavin puzo but yes, Laurencia Pair, that's my buddy, ride or die partner. Greetings. Ian Cauldron, greetings to you, my brother. How are you? Yes. Somebody said that Ian is a brother from another mother, but I don't know what people are saying. You know, people say what they want, but hey, it is what it is. Just bear with me, folks. Let me do some communications there. Yes, here. Bear with me, my people. But as you bear with me, you better start sharing the live. Share the live and tag a friend, because we don't know where the show is going to turn out, where it's going to go. Well, it's not going to go down. It's going to go up. We're not sure where it is going. We are growing daily on the platform, and I want to thank every one of you. I do not take you for granted. All right. So I was just communicating with the technicians over there on GVD. That's why I'm watching down and I'm not looking at you as I speak. All right. But GVD should be on very shortly. Those are words from the technician very soon. All right. Thomas Moses, greetings to you. Happy to see you too, my brother. Happy to see you. Flora Sakafet. And let me big up some people over there on our YouTube channel. We have, you know what? I got to change my glasses. Yes, we have Camacho. Greetings to you from Venezuela. Venezuela in the house. Yes. That is Camacho. We have our first viewer over there in Venezuela. We know there's a lot happening, and so you guys are tuning in to get latest developments. We do get your messages, and so we want to welcome you to our platform, our brothers over there in Venezuela who is on the set with us tonight. Gloriana, greetings to you on August 1, 2, 3. Good night to you. Good night to all those who are coming in over there on the platform. Let me just reset our YouTube. Play with me. I'm going to do a total reset over there so that I can at least see in real time what is happening. So let's pull it up quickly. And yes, we are in real time now. Mwe kotam, mwe bon. All right. Yes, Mathrin, greetings. Canada is in the house. And Jean Francis, don't matter, Garfield, we are all brothers and sisters in Christ. 111. Savoué, savoué. Justin, greetings to you. Martin Francis, me, look, my brother Chappé. Oh, boy, anytime I see that name, I feel good. Yes, man, Francis have been with me from day one. Ek ila toujours. Yes. Greetings. So, All right, folks, we are back, and I want to apologize to you for the break in transmission there. Our sound went off on us, total sound collapse, and so we are back, folks. If it's not one, it's the other. Just bear with us. We will be right back in a minute, folks. All right, folks, so we are back. All we had there was a sound crash. The reason for that is I don't know what is going on here, but we give God praise and we give him the glory because one side of the system, the audio part of it, the mic system, just... And you won't believe, I would tell, if I should explain to you, friends, you would be amazed. Just bear with me. Let me get our YouTubers back in play. Just bear with me. Yes, man. The show will continue. Somebody. Yes. Yes, my friends. So I believe everything is back up and running. Let me ensure that I can hear myself clearly. Yes, yes, yes. I can hear myself. We're firing on all cylinder, and I know that you can hear me. Somebody said YouTube is off. No, I don't think so. I believe YouTube is on. So let's just check on our YouTube feed. It is showing that YouTube is on. Yes, in spite of that crash, I believe our YouTube channel is still functioning. Let me know if somebody go over there and let me know if Sister Judy says that YouTube is off. Well, it's supposed to be on. It's supposed to be on. Reverend, all hell can break loose. We have in this show tonight. Share the live and tag a friend. Yeah, man. I know what it is, friends. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. All right? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, man. I have it covered, Parico. Yes, man. So we're just waiting here for a YouTube. You can hear me clearly? Yes, good. Judy says that YouTube is on. Yes, YouTube is on. So what these are, we firing on all cylinder. No, I'm just waiting for me to get some visual because I have no visual right now on the YouTube channel. The visual is just coming back on my side, all right? So just bear with me. Your padu but sure, monkey got these also. The show will continue. Tag a friend. All right, so let me just do the final stuff here, and then we are up and running. In the meantime, let's do a promotion for Viewfort South. Promotion Viewfort South.
Fearful Unstoppable, in collaboration with the Fearful South Constituency Branch, presents a country and western back in time dance featuring Andre Paul and his crew. Happening on Saturday, October 25th, Kimatrai Hotel. Admission is only $5. Come win some fabulous prizes, including Best Mattress and Best Dancer. Transportation will be provided for persons coming from Lavishes, Tocamel, Cantonment, and Environments. It's country and western and back in time dance. Saturday, October 25th, Kimatrai Hotel. Come, just a whole swear.
All right, that was a promotion from Viewfort South, and that is a country and western dance. Sounds like they're going way back in times. They go way back in times with Andre Paul. He's going to be the DJ Andre and Company. All right, $5. That's cheap. Oh, that is cheap, cheap, cheap. Yes, so you just buy your little dress, your frack, and your little shoe and gone. Galang, according to the Bajan, do your stuff, all right? Yes, my friends, we go straight to work. I have my rant, of course, that I am going to do tonight. Let me just put a standby screen in case of any technical issues. I would be able to switch the device. That's why it's important that you support the show, friends. Subscribe. Do whatever you have to do to keep the show going, to keep our equipment up and running. Do whatever it takes, all right? Don't just enjoy the show and you're not giving any support to our platform, okay? I mean, you like it? You like the Chinese food? Yes, man, you put the tip in the plate because you like it. The chang wang or the whatever it is, friends. Bow wow, meow, whatever you eat. Nah. All right, so folks, yes, we are back on focus. Now, I want to speak about disrespect for a minute. So I posted an update, of course, on the charged by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force that was given to Mr. Hilaire. So I got word that he was charged. So for me, I don't just jump and post things because I'm looking for fame. No, sir. So what I did is that I made some calls to some of my sources, my people, and I said to them, look, I'm hearing this. Can you confirm it? Can you give me anything? Is there any information? And then, boom, somebody said to me, yeah, it is true. Here is the evidence. It is a fact. I said, okay, fair enough. So I said to them, look, I'm going to put out something, a notification, so that at least the people will know what is happening, of course. Well, to my surprise, when I checked back on the comments under the live, I saw an individual saying to me that God is going to punish me. Okay, okay, he's going to punish me. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to be punished for? All my sins have been confessed, and I confess my sins daily, friends, daily. Yes, communicate with my Heavenly Father. So when she said that God is going to punish me, I thought I had killed somebody or I did something wrong. And so I asked for clarification, because anytime you start talking about God and punish, I get a little concerned. So I questioned, I said, please explain. And she said, you will see, you will see, you will see. God will judge you. Yeah, okay. As a preacher man, I know that God is going to judge the world. So I'm not sure if there's a special judgment for me, of course. And there is none for the nastiness that they entertain as political discourse. As far as I'm concerned, my platform have been the most decent and respectful platform on social media or on television or on YouTube. It has been the most respected and the most disciplined show as far as I'm concerned, and I'm boasting about it. I must boast about it, I tell you. So I'm trying to figure out, how is it you leave? And I track those people. I track them back to a whole lot of nasty posts with F words and your mother and all kind of nastiness. But God is not judging them. He's judging me, who is trying by the grace of God to hold the standard up. Folks, I am telling you, we are living in very serious times where wrong is now right and right is now wrong. And these people are so delusional that they are trying to bend decency into something else. I am telling you, it is not scary, because as a preacher, we have preached those things that in the last days, these type of behavior will happen. Hearts of man get cold. So when she said that I will be judged, and I follow and I look at the people that she's cheering on, that they're cheering on, and you listen to the content, you listen to the type of presentations that are being made, then something is wrong with our world. How can you look at a decent man like me, and I don't like to boast about myself, of course, and I'm not the most perfect, but at least I have some oomph. At least I have some fire. And you would think that they would be embarrassed with the type of writing, of texting that they're doing. You would think that they're more embarrassed to say, that doesn't make sense, They go on and they type it and they put it out and they're happy, yeah. And they boast, yes, modi, mon foute ya plasli. And it is scary. That's all I can say. It is scary. You are living, folks, in a world that has gone off its marbles. And they spend hours under these nasty lives, insulting women and cussing this one, and they're comfortable. God is not going to do anything. And when you go on their page, you see all kind of scriptures and all kind of pictures with them in church. But I am going to be judged. And I'm still waiting for the individual to update me, because maybe they got the keys to the kingdom and maybe they took my name off the list, of course, like it's a voting list in St. Lucia. But I want to correct you that you can't touch that heavenly list. You can't take out names and add names. So I rebuke you and your nastiness, what you are peddling in our society. Bad for good and good for bad? Come on. We're going to move on from this nastiness. So, the nastiness came out in time because I'm almost finished with my book. And I'm going to put up the screenshot of the book, the book cover. The book cover, I'm going to put it up before we go into our discussion. So let's put it up, the book cover. And this speaks of exactly what these individuals are going out and they're doing. Look. Oh, the book is not good. So here is the book, friends, my new book that is coming out shortly. And it is The Countdown to Power. Who Will Win? A Biblical Perspective of World Power. Empires Fall and Prophecy Stands. And it is written by your humble servant, Garfield, Olliver, B.A. Empires are shifting. Allegiance are breaking. Morality is collapsing. In The Countdown to Power, journalist Garfield Olliver unveils the prophetic patterns behind global politics, connecting ancient empires to modern superpower, discovering how God's hand guides history. Who will ultimately prevail? Empires fall, prophecy stands. The race for world power is not political, it is spiritual. From Babylon to American history, counts down to one eternal kingdom. And this is my new book as a result of my time in church. Yeah. Yes, my friends. So I want to welcome our GVD TV audience, welcome to the platform tonight. All right? So, Brother Soto, greetings to you and the family. Amen. So, yes, my friend. So, as a result of my religious belief and studies and upbringing, of course, and also my political observation, I was able to put a lot of stuff throughout the years together. Now, some of you are wondering, what was he doing here, preaching and all these kind of things? You will read what I was doing here, of course. And you will understand, folks, that this is no joke. This is no joke. You are living in a society that is morally bankrupt. And you are living in a world that is heading to its final turn. It's up to you if you want to continue with life as usual. That's your problem, not mine. But I am here to make a difference. I am here to let my light shine so that people can see a different way of discussing, a different way of engagement. And it do not have to be a fist to face or a gun or a knife. It do not have to be a cussing match between your mother, your cousin, your dead granny. I am here to show you that we can elevate the discussion and we can take it to a whole different level. And when you do that, friends, all hell will break loose around you. Toutes ces démons, ces gens engagés, ces vieux démons, you can lever against you. And they will try to bring you down to their level. When one needs steel backbone, because I know whom I believe, and I'm persuaded that the course that I'm on, it is a good one, because I'm here to show you that you can be different. You can make a difference. And you have a soul that need to be saved. I'm Mafi Nexa, so let's move on, all right? So that is a strong message that I want to send to you. They will rise up. They will rise up against you. But the Bible says that God will set up a standard that they will scatter your enemies. And when they open their mouth to curse you, they go and bless you and expose themselves. So let's go on. Folks, a lot have been happening out there. A whole lot. Let's take this break and we'll be right back.
They said the project was overpriced. Now they have to pay the contractor $21 million and are borrowing an additional $50 million to complete the same road. This is wrong. You deserve better. Vote UWP to make it right. Philip J. Pierre, Stevenson King, and Kenson Casimir stopped the $15 million Rodney Bay Highway expansion project because they said the project was overpriced. Now they have to pay the contractor $21 million and are borrowing an additional $50 million to complete the same road. This is wrong. You deserve better. Vote UWP to make it right. Philip J.
Okay, good. So thank you so much. We just took a break and we are back, folks. All right. So I hope that you sharing the live, Tiger Friend. Everything I just need to reset. It's reset. All right. So we are almost 400 to 500 viewers, and we will keep growing as the night goes by. So let's get down to brass tacks. I think that's what they say, right? Mm-hmm. So most of you would have heard a show with, I think, Spider-Man Toot on Rev Up. And here is what he did. Just bear with me. Here is what he did. I'm going to put it up on the screen so that you can hear it. You can see what is happening here. So Spider-Man Toot made some statements that send shock wave on the island of St. Lucia, and maybe smaller islands on the outside. Yeah? Okay, so bear with me. Just bear with me, folks. And we are going to cause. That's what they call it, right? Just bear with me. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Something just came over to the set. Just bear with me. Okay, sorry about that. Just something came over on the set that I had to transfer over to the main screen, seeing that we had a blockout. All right, so Spider-Man 2 made a statement about monies that was offered to him in order to leave the United Workers' Party. Okay? Good. So, bear with me, all right? Let's take a listen. And this is from Rev Up, St. Lucia, all right? Meet the opposition or government in waiting.
Leonard Spider-Man Tooth was made, not the same, but a similar offer to what Stephenson King was made to leave the United Workers' Party to run as an independent or to join the Labour Party. Okay? Now, I want to be clear, because people will tell you, Philip J. Pierre will tell you, he never spoke to me. No, they didn't, but they had the surrogate to do it. Okay? I was offered $2 million to do it. Okay? I know how much Steve was offered. Okay? Of course, he was offered more than I was offered. I'm not going to compromise my principles, and I'm not going to be bought. And I'm going to make a statement here today. Any man that can be bought, okay? Any man that can be bought does not have value.
So basically, Spider is saying that there was an approach. They approached him. Well, the SLP, of course, approached him with $2 million to buy out his loyalty to the United Workers' Party. Did you hear that? But he did not take the deal. But remember that there was a time when we were hearing that King is going to leave the party, and the SLP was having meetings with King. They were having conversations with him. I don't know if you remember that time. And there were a number of other members of the United Workers' Party that was acting funny. I don't know if you remember that. Some of them were acting very funny. Yeah? Yes. And there was the idea that, look, we are going to have a vote of no confidence. We're going to get rid of Alan Shastney. I don't know if you remember that. So we're going to get rid of Alan Shastney because we have no more confidence in him. Do you remember that time? And the Prime Minister, the opposition leader at the time, Philip J.P., all of them were watching and waiting because they were getting ready for a power shift, because they were very sure that they had 2 or 3 guys that would have turned and hand maybe power over to them. I don't know if you remember, but I do remember. Now we are finding out that there were deals that the Labour Party was trying to make. There were deals that were being made in order to get supporters of the ministers and members of the United Workers' Party to switch allegiance to them. And so they were buying it would appear, they were buying these individuals out. We are not sure how many UWPs accepted the offers. If what Spider is saying is true, and Spider is saying, look, I know for a fact that this gentleman was offered much more. And that's the type of politics that you have in your country. And I want you to listen to this, folks. Most of you would have heard it, but I'm going to link Stephen King's statement to Sir John Compton's wife. And she made a passionate presentation, I believe last evening. And I'm saying to you, friends, I want you to pay attention to a still grieving wife of the father of the nation on his 100th birthday. 100 years he would have been if he was alive. But on that in that fateful season, Stephen King made the worst statement that any human being in the country would even think or imagine that they would have made. So, here's what happened.
Compton, this government has done more than just cutting grass. What this government has done in this country, no other government has done, not even Sir John Compton. This government has done more than just cutting grass. What this government has done in this country, no other government has done, not even Sir John Compton.
So this is a guy, it appears, that is well buttered and just trying to, and I want, most of you would have common sense, of course. I'm hoping we're having a discussion. He's acting, you know what, you're trying to be in friendship with a bully or with somebody who you don't really like, they didn't like you in the past, and they said a whole lot of bad thing, and now you're trying to sugar up to them. This guy comes across like that, trying to outdo the Labour Party in their rhetoric. Now, I'm going to link this to Lady Janice presentation. We're going to play it. And we're going to go it line by line, and we're going to expose this nastiness. So, I don't know if those of you who are backsliders, and I'm sure there are one or two backsliders, forgive me for calling you backsliders. See who can tell Iglesia who backslide? This is I. Let me speak to some of you backsliders. You understand when somebody backslides, especially from the Adventist church, that they go out there and they want to outdo those who were never Adventists? They go to the dance hall, they want to whine more than those who have been doing it for years, who have never been in church? Have you ever seen a backslide Adventist want to drink more than the gorget that is accustomed of drinking his bouteille? They always want to outdo the people who have been doing their thing all their life. Let you backslide. King comes across like a backslide Adventist who is trying to outdo everybody. They're trying to eat more pork than the pork eaters themselves. They're trying to do everything in their power. That's King. King is trying to outdo Labour Party in their rhetoric against the United Workers' Party. And let me tell you something, folks. If you leave the United Workers' Party, leave in peace. Because if you were a true, diehard United Workers' Party member, you know what you'll do? You would go out there with a conscience and you would say, look, I'm leaving because of this, because of these reasons, but I am not going to certain things, certain lines I am not going to cross. John Compton, I am not crossing that line because there is no one that you can compare to the Honorable Sir John Compton. And I'm going to play it again for you to hear.
Compton, this government has done more than just cutting grass. What this government has done in this country, no other government has done, not even Sir John Compton. Compton, this government has done more than just cutting grass. What this government has done in this country, no other government has done, not even Sir John Compton.
Okay, not even John Compton. So let us go over to something that I listened to today, and it had me emotional. It had me emotional that King would have done or attempt to do such damage to the legacy of the father of the nation. Folks, bear with me tonight. We're going to pay respect to the legacy of Sir John Compton tonight because of the nastiness that was done by King. We are going to take our time and we're going to, some of you like too much roar, like drama. I don't have drama. We are dealing with a very serious matter. And that is the legacy of a great leader in our country. So let's go. And by the way, this clip is from HTS. HTS, not news, but HTS television. And we give them all the credit. It is not our work, all right? So this is addressed by Lady Janice Compton. And that is celebrating, you know, the 100th year of her husband, her late husband, father of the nation, the Right Honorable Sir Melvin Compton. Yeah? And let me just give you some information. He was born on April the 29th, 1925, in a small island, yes, that is part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's called Kanawang. It's a very small island where you have a lot of mulatto and a lot of people who love the sea, and beautiful island, of course. And that's where he was born. John Compton died on September the 7th, 2007. And I'm going to play you as we go through this clip. I want you to pay attention to what Lady Janice is saying. And I want us to just be reverent in our approach to this discussion. So we go over to Lady Compton.
The contribution of the Venerable Archdeacon Glasgow, Reverend Glasgow, members of the Compton family, friends, and all who have come out to support this event and honor the contribution of the late John Compton, Sir John Compton, to this country as we mark the centenary of his birth. Welcome and thank you for your support and encouragement. One of the things I find that whenever I speak only about John Compton, and sometimes some of the things I say are misconstrued because people think that I am getting at somebody or the other, but I'm not. I'm only talking about John Compton, his life, his experiences, the good and the bad. And tonight, as is mentioned before, we also celebrate the 15th anniversary of the establishment of the Sir John Compton.
Okay, just bear with me, folks. I am going to ask the Labour Party supporters who are under the live to have some reverence for what we're doing here. Have some respect. If you want to do your regular thing that you do on the lives, find another live to do it. But tonight, I would want you to have some great respect for what we're doing here tonight. We're dealing with the legacy of Sir John Compton. And I think the entire nation owe him this respect. And even while his wife is outlining the many times you folks have disrespected him, and it has brought pain and suffering to him, I think tonight you need to relax yourself under this platform, or I will start blocking you guys. I'll block you. I'll block every one of you tonight, because if you're not going to respect this man, the late Sir John Compton, then I would not want you to be distracting us. Go somewhere else and do this nonsense. But under this platform, I would ask you to just relax yourself. Not every time you have to be a nastiness. Not every time you have to give tit for tat. There are times you got to learn how to be peaceful. You got to know how to just be human and stop acting like uncivilized people. Just listen. Let's pay attention tonight. And wait until Thursday or some other night where you can continue with your nastiness. But not here, okay? This is a special platform, and it represents my faith, all right? So let's go back over to Lady Compton, please. I beg you guys, stop.
And also, which nobody knows or remembers, this weekend is the anniversary of the day he first entered the Parliament of St. Lucia in October 1954. But above all, we are here to celebrate the centenary of his birth. And as we do so, we take the opportunity to do something meaningful and in keeping with Sir John's vision and his love for this country. As you saw the video earlier, we have chosen to bring an awareness to St. Lucians of the long overdue need for a national museum, for all to be involved in bringing this project to fruition, so that we may with pride know our story of who we are, how we got to where we are, and of where we are going, and of those who along the way who helped shape the St. Lucia we know today from its earliest recorded history. Without this knowledge, we are missing a vital part of knowing ourselves. This endeavor has already begun with the government designating the former Golden Hope Hospital as a site for the museum. And I would like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for seeing the possibility of turning a derelict former armament storage into a place of learning, of history, and of our story. I should also like to thank the government of France, and especially the former ambassador, Francis Le Etienne, who immediately could envision the dream, as have those working with him, Christelle Outremont, Fanny Raymond, Christiane Bourgeois, Camille Gigonneau, Aurélie Clemente Ruiz, and the team from Paris who are presently working on the feasibility study. They have all been so inspiring and encouraging to our committee here, which consists of all the stakeholders, the National Trust, the Folk Research Center, the Archaeological and Historical Society, the National Archives, and the Cultural Development Foundation. This is a huge undertaking that involves not only acquiring and putting together of the collections, the training of the staff required, and assembling a product that can be viable. It will take time and considerable effort, not to mention patience. But we have begun, and we look forward to working with all of you here and keeping you abreast as we progress. My husband always said, which was mentioned before, that of all that he did for St. Lucia, he wished to be remembered for bringing education to the people. When he came into office, there were 2 secondary schools. At his passing, there were 24. Not all of them were built during his tenure, but the majority were. It is because of his wish that the foundation in his memory is dedicated to assisting young St. Lucians in areas relating to education.
So, folks, foundation number one, schools. Foundation number 1, schools. Pay attention.
Over $1.25 million to assist St. Lucia's children. Among its endeavors has been to pay the CXC fees for some 2,000 children, has provided uniforms and books, paid for 2 students to study French at the Alliance Française each year, has paid for 2 students from Sir Arthur to study in Martinique, has provided funds for transport for children from the out districts to get to their choir practice, has provided funds for a school to be able to purchase musical instruments for a new school band, has assisted the School of Music to acquire a grand piano, and has assisted students from Sir Arthur and Monroe College with fees, has assisted a student with university fees in the US, and has assisted 2 teachers with university fees in the UK and at UWI. And it has also helped 3 schools in Dominica in their recovery following Hurricane Maria, on this occasion working with the NACI Foundation. All of this is in keeping All of this is in keeping with Sir John's vision for St. Lucia, that every child should have an opportunity. And in the words of our Nobel laureate, Sir Arthur Lewis, that the answer to poverty is not money, but education. This year, while we honor and remember Sir John, who gave his entire adult life to the service of St. Lucia, as was mentioned before, the foundation intends to donate the funds raised at this event towards the proposed new National Museum, hopefully to assist in the training of the staff, which the museum will require. Before moving on, I'd like to mention some persons who these past years have always assisted the foundation in its endeavors. They are Archie Glasgow, Bernard Thibbles, and Dunstan de Bolley. They have been there from the beginning and have never failed.
Now I want you to observe, my people, the names that are being called throughout this. Now we're going to be skipping, of course, because we want engagement. All right. So I want you to observe. One, we saw one of the greatest contribution. We saw that contribution. Just bear with me, folks. All right. So that person was just banned from commenting. All right. So let's get back to business now. So one, education, and now names are being mentioned, and in all those names, mind you, Philip Japet's name is not being mentioned, Stevenson King's name is not being mentioned, a whole lot of people's name are not being mentioned. All right? Just bear with me, folks. Okay? Let's go back.
late Chris Rennick and the late Guy Ellis. And I would like to thank several persons who each year never fail to contribute and to help keep the foundation going. They are Anthony Bristol and Lyle Chase of Pinnacle St. Lucia, Randall and August Bain of Northwest, and Lucilec. And I'd also like to make special mention of Ronald Ramjatan of Barron Foods, who never fails me. And lastly, I'd like to thank my children, who have worked in so many ways to be of assistance. Fiona with her many promotions, and Nina, who has raised over $80,000 for the foundation. I'm happy she's here tonight. She's flown in just for the evening, has to leave tomorrow. Bless you, Nina, and thank you. Her last effort was to work with Tristan Epsilon, an amazing Trinidadian chef, who this year won this season's Top Chef, and he's from Trinidad. And Kamara Mick, another talented chef with Jamaican roots. You see, we always keep it Caribbean. And to my children, Sean, Janine, and Maya. Janine is not well tonight, that's why she's not here, and the others are overseas. But each of my children have been absolutely amazing. Without all these special persons, the task would be so much harder. Bless you all. Some 58 years ago, following school and college, I decided to remain in London for a time to gain some work experience. And then, my father was appointed as the first St. Lucian-born governor when we gained our statehood. For family reasons, I was the only one who could have been here to assist my father, although I always knew I would return home at some stage. This was the swinging 60s in London, a time when I could go to a Rolling Stones live concert and afterwards head to Heathrow Airport to welcome the Beatles back from their first trip to the US. A time when all the sound systems at Heathrow Airport were piping Beatles music. It was a heady time in London, and a time when it was not as an expensive place as it is today. Even so, I was happy to come and assist my father. That, of course, meant that I had to cross paths with one John Compton. You should know that John Compton was not my most favorite person at that time. I can't tell you when I first knew him. His name was always around when I was a child. But my father wrote, in those days, no cell phones, you waited every week for your letter. But my father wrote to say that John Compton was coming to London and that he was going to send something with him for my sister and I. I was designated to meet him at his hotel, which was near to my place of work. Those of you who knew John Compton know how abrupt he could be. And following my encounter, during which he offered to take something home for my father, I told my sister, that man is so rude. I'm not going back there alone. Thankfully, when we arrived at the hotel at the range time, he wasn't there. And we left the package at the front desk, and I happily assigned my sister to make the contact with him to verify he had received it. Some months later, my father was in London, and I promised to accompany him to the airport when he was leaving. He advised me that John Compton was in London and that he would be meeting him at his hotel before leaving for the airport, and that I could meet him there. When I arrived, I couldn't find my father and was by now worrying that I had missed him when along came Kenneth Momplaisy, who informed me that my father was up in John Compton's room and proceeded to take me there. Well, my father had already left, and another chilly encounter. On the third occasion, my mother called to say, John Compton is in London. And I replied, I really don't care. So imagine when I came home to help my father, and he insisted that it was the polite thing to do to go and pay a courtesy call on the chief minister. I fought it for several days, but I had to give in eventually, and only on condition that my father would accompany me. You might say the rest is history, because it wasn't long before I got to know the other side of John Compton, the soft, the caring, and often emotional side of him. I don't think many people were happy with our relationship. In hindsight, I can see why. He was much older than I, had lived a very full life, and because of these pressures, our courtship was fraught with breaking up, tears, and making up the next day. It definitely wasn't love at first sight, but he became the great love of my life, my best friend, my teacher, my life's companion.
Pay attention, folks. This is going to get very serious quickly.
We had 40 amazing years together.
And remember, this clip is brought to you from HTS. That's where we got it, from HTS.
I had the opportunity to see him at times of triumph and those of great despair. And I had the unbelievable experience of seeing him transfer this country from the backwater it was to being the envy of the OECS. John Compton's great-grandfather was brought from Hampshire in the United Kingdom to Canouan to teach shipbuilding. And from him came the family's rich history of shipbuilding and seafaring. And he taught the craft from Anguilla in the north to Carriacou in the south. Many of you know Canouan. To those who don't, it is a beautiful little island, just about 5 square miles in size, in the St. Vincent Grenadines. John Compton's home, like all the homes in Canouan at the time, was nothing fancy, and life in the Grenadines was not always easy. Imagine, no rivers, no running water. In the dry season, once your tank was empty, there was only one pond, where everyone, including the animals, sometimes had to seek water. Often it meant only sea baths. He had to tend the family garden before going to school, and often walked to school with only a few plums in his pocket. And one day after school, he went fishing on the rocks with his cousin Mailings, and a wave took away his only pair of shoes. For days he searched, hoping the sea would wash his shoes ashore. It was all in vain, and he had to walk to school barefooted for some time until his mother could get him another pair of shoes. These experiences he rarely told of, and in later years following his retirement, when those who followed would often speak of growing up poor and suffering, he would sometimes comment that he couldn't understand why, and I quote, "they keep crying in their hands because we were all poor." These experiences, however, helped mold the man he would become. There are different ways in which he might have allowed them to affect his life, but he chose to remember always those left in those circumstances and to do his best to bring them to a better way of life. At the time he came to live permanently in St. Lucia, there was only one scholarship available every 2 years. After secondary school, many of the persons who helped build St. Lucia in the 50s, 60s, and 70s went to work in the oil refinery in Curacao to save money for their tertiary education. And many went on to study law in the UK.
Pay attention, folks, pay attention. We're coming back.
And John Compton. John Compton was accepted at Cambridge University, but he arrived late and lost his place. He then went on to the University College of Wales, where he studied law and economics, and he would complete his studies at the London School of Economics. And he was called to the bar at the Gray's Inn in 1951. His time in the UK afforded him the opportunity to meet many students who would, like him, return home to make their mark. Persons like Ghazali bin Shafi from Malaysia and Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore, who would remain his friends in later life. Lee Kuan Yew would write to me after his passing, and I quote, "Our common colonial history made for good friendships." His time in the UK, however, wasn't a bed of roses. In summer, he worked on farms, picking fruit to supplement his allowance. And there were times when he had just a shilling left in his pocket, and he had to decide whether to use it for transport to school or to put heater in his digs to keep warm or for something to eat. He would travel down the coast to court and witness the difficulties of life in those areas, and he determined to dedicate his efforts to making a change. He ran as an independent in 1954 for the Denri Miku seat, now 4 constituencies. Some places were so remote that he had to ride a horse to get there. There was no schooling in many places, and he took his parliamentary salary to start a school in Olliver, with 1 teacher at first and a second when he could afford it.
Now, hold a minute, folks. We're going to mute for a minute. Now, I want you to keep in mind what Stephen King said. I want you to keep that in mind. What Stephen King said, no other government in St. Lucia have done what Philip J. has done, even Sir John Compton. The disrespect. I want you to pay attention to what Lady Compton is saying. Listen, friends, it's emotional and it gets very bad quickly as she speaks. And I want you to look at the audience who she's speaking to. Pay attention, folks. All right? And then we'll take a break, a commercial break, and then we'll be right back. You know what? Let's take that break now, and then we'll be right back. Okay? Let's take the break now.
Nous qu'a montré la vie en pays, qu'il t'ait musique nouvelle, toute bagaille, c'est GVD qui qu'a fait nous vivants. GVD TV, ça c'est nous-mêmes, nous en quel pays à nous qu'a brillé tout le temps. GVD TV, faut nous mettre l'en main, pour sentir ici, continuer à avancer. GVD TV, ça c'est la vie nous. GVD TV, ensemble nous qu'a brillé toujours. GVD TV, ça c'est la vie nous. GVD TV, ensemble nous qu'a brillé toujours.
All right, and that is GVD TV channel 115. A matter of fact, GVTV, we're trying to get some sponsors so that they can broadcast live the Creole activity on Sunday. So I'm going to ask those of you who are on the platform to reach out to GVD TV. Those of you who are business houses, reach out to GVD TV as soon as possible and have a conversation there with the team so that they can bring you live coverage of the Creole Day activity on Sunday. So let's get back to the program.
But would leave in 1961. He never publicly gave his reason for leaving, as it would have caused embarrassment for some, and so he bore the criticism instead. In the late 50s, he was labeled a communist when he engineered strikes in the Denri Valley aimed at bringing better working conditions to the workers. When he left the Labour Party in 1961, he and others formed the National Labour Movement, which would merge with the People's Progressive Party in 1964 to form the United Workers' Party. The UWP would win the elections of that year, and so began the first 15 years of John Compton as leader of the country. It was during this time that St. Lucia began to emerge in so many ways. So many institutions and organizations were formed to address the needs of the country. The Urban Development Corporation, which oversaw the building of affordable housing at Sanssouci, formerly a swamp, Entrepot, an independent city. Imagine those our houses on the highway opposite Lucilec at Sanssouci were sold for just $17,000. Once again, persons from Conway were given the first opportunity to own a lot, but were told not to acquire one. But look at the value of those properties today. Lots of land was sold on the Mon for 30 cents a square foot. Can you imagine the Sanssouci swamp not being filled and heavy trucks and countless vehicles having to pass through La Clery and then the Calvary? In 1970 came the National Provident Fund, now the National Insurance, and persons were encouraged to demonstrate against the NPF. Today, so many are thankful that he held his ground and that they now...
Hold a minute. So, we're dealing with housing now. Foundation by Sir John Compton. In 1970, based on what Lady Compton is saying here, John Compton started the NIS, Providence Fund. And based on history, I am hearing that the same SLP fought against it. Same SLP, but we'll have a discussion after. Let Lady Janice finish, and I'm coming after. SLP, I'm coming. Just give me some minutes. We're listening to Lady Compton and are coming, because we got to remind the people. We got to remind the people of some key points here, some key truths. And Mr. King, I hope you're listening. Because what you did and what the Labour Party have done in the past and now, they should not be speaking a certain way about the Honorable Sir Melvin Compton. But let's listen.
It was the time of WINBAN, the Agriculturalist Association, the Lucia Model Farms, all there to assist the farmers. It was the time of the Development Bank and the creation of the National Development Corporation to assist entrepreneurs to get financing to establish small businesses. When factory shells were built to help those who could not afford to have a place they could rent, so they could rent. It was a time when new schools like the Carmen Rennie Memorial and the beginning of the Sir Arthur Lewis College.
So, pay attention. Now, United Workers' Party supporters, may I say to you, this is your history. United Workers' Party, this is what you did for St. Lucia. When people want you to be ashamed of being a UWP, you hold your head up high. History. The history is being read. Right now, it was written back then, and it's being read now by the wife of Sir John Compton, in front of Labour Party, the Labour Party leader, Mr. Philip J. Pear. History is on the side, in a positive way, of the United Workers' Party. You hear what I'm saying to you? So the next time people tell you, flabo fini, fabi flabo pa bon, exapa flabo, listen to me. You be proud for the foundations that were laid by your founder, your leader. Hold your head up high and lift that Flubber torch a light. Let it light throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia, because history is now proving you as a successful party, as a party of influence, as a party of consequence, a party who laid down the many foundations that we are enjoying today. Be proud and never be ashamed of saying that you are United Workers' Party strong.
Teachers Training College, the Holborn complex. It was a time when our first big-named hotel, the Holiday Inn, arrived at Redway Beach. What many of you don't know is that the chairman of Holiday Inn came to have a holiday here, and that his wife got badly bitten by sandflies. Many of you are old enough to remember that you could not sit outside at sunset at Rodney Bay, in Rodney Bay. And well, this gentleman said, if something was not done about the sandflies, Holiday Inn would pull out. In February of 1970, I traveled to Jamaica with Sir John to meet the Matalon family, to see the developments they were instrumental in, both in Kingston and the North Coast, to understand what could be possible for the Redway area. It was the beginning of what we know today as Rodney Bay Marina and Pigeon Island Causeway. Everything he did was criticized, from the Provident Fund to Sands to Sea to Rodney Bay. He always said that had he listened to St. Lucians, he would have achieved nothing, and that he wished he'd listened to himself more.
Pay attention, St. Lucians. Pay attention. Lady Compton said to you that everything meaningful that John Compton tried to do for the country, he met fierce opposition from the Labour Party. Everything he tried to do. What do we see today? Have anything changed? But wait, we'll have a conversation after Lady Compton. Just bear patience and share the live, tag a friend. All UWP leaders and supporters need to be on one of the three platforms, GVD TV, our Facebook page, or our YouTube channel. You better tag them. And tag those who are just coming. And tag those who have betrayed the legacy of John Compton. And tag those who are attempting, even as we speak, to sabotage the United Workers' Party from the inside. Tag those who have sold out for 30 pieces of silver the United Workers' Party and the legacy of Sir John Compton. You tag them tonight, because I have a strong message for them. A strong message. Again, for those who just came into the United Workers' Party, you better learn and understand the history of this great party. And to those of you who believe it is your party, and that you were there before this one and you can do what you want, I am saying to you, watch yourself. Because history will run over you like a bulldozer, and you would know what hit you. You understand? The United Workers' Party is not just a name. It is a bloodstream. It is something that is within your boudin. It is part of you. And it cannot be bought or sold. It cannot be, and that's why the Labour Party is trying to buy out all UWPs, because this is and has been the party of development for St. Lucia. Yeah? Okay. Let's allow Lady Compton, because I'm steaming up now and I'm getting ready to take off, but let's allow Lady Compton to spell out history to all under the sound of my voice today.
In Rodney Bay, he lived to feel vindicated when he witnessed his critics vying to purchase property and finally seeing the potential of Rodney Bay. John Compton worked with Leon Hess to get the present Lucelec facilities at Cul-de-sac established so that we could benefit from the improved services we enjoy today. John Compton personally walked every water source, every water course, north and south, to see where water supplies could be found in this island. He tried to keep water rates low because he didn't want people to go back to the river, where they at that time might contract typhoid or bilharzia.
Okay, so now we have NIC, Pigeon Island, Rodney Bay Development. We have the schools. Now we have the waterway. So we had education, now the waterway. Now imagine a prime minister walking in every water catchment or hole in St. Lucia to figure out how he's going to bring fresh, clean water at an affordable price to the citizens of St. Lucia. He didn't want them in the river because they were dying. They were dying in Dennery. They were dying in the rivers. They were dying in the valley because of waterborne disease that was killing the young children. He went searching in the snakes all over St. Lucia, hills and valleys, so that you can have water today. And what King is saying to you, that Philip J. Pay has done more for St. Lucia than Sir John Compton?
Because of him and his team, and with the kind assistance of the Government of Canada, we have the Sir John Compton Dam at Roseau. He also spent weekends working to lay water lines at Saltibus, Monrepo, and Patience, helping to build a small dam at Patience that has supplied water for the Monrepo area for years. Each year, John Compton wrote the country's budget himself. He would meet with the Secretary of Finance and all the permanent secretaries of the various ministries. Then he would meet the individual ministries, and then he would seclude himself for several days and go through all the government files to see where he might improve the country's income. Often he would tell me of the things he found in these files. And finally, he would sit and write the budget for that year. No one could go to Parliament with a question he couldn't answer when it came to the budget. And of course, of all these achievements was our independence. As Didicus alluded to, that he fought for and won, believing that it was our right to chart our own course. The 70s brought a massive change to our politics. It ushered in a violence, an entitlement without responsibility, and deeply divisive, hateful politics. It was a time of tear gas at the Prime Minister's residence, a time when we were building our home and a mason thought that hatred would twice be caught not putting steel in the walls.
Oh, guys, this have never been heard before in the history of St. Lucia, I believe. And you will hear some of them, this year I have never seen this type of politics before. Hello, you SLP know exactly what type of politics, what kind of politics it was. You guys know. Don't come and pretend, try to rewrite history like you guys are so good, was so good for the country. Don't try that, not so fast. Not so fast. And the good thing is that you guys had to sit there and listen to Lady Compton without even grumbling. And I know some of you wish that the ground would open and swallow you. You wish that you could have just disappeared from the building because she was giving facts. She was giving history. And you guys usher in a politics in the country. And now you're pretending like you have never seen this before. I've never seen it. Yeah. You're not reading the archives of history? It has been written. And now, this generation, we are reading the history. Your name, Labour Party, is in the history. And it's not too nice to you. So you guys, based on what Lady Compton is saying, you guys push your rhetoric so much like we see today. People are threatening people. People are doing all sorts of nastiness right now. If you look at it, the same old politics of the Labour Party that they're pulling out. Right? Same, nothing new. And you guys spread your hatred for John Compton to the point where they had a builder building their home and he's sabotaging the people home. Has anything changed, St. Lucians? Is there anything new under the sun? But let's continue. Let's continue.
Out of spite. A time when our contractor walked out without a word on election day. It was a far cry from the time when our house at Maho burned down. And 2 weeks later, my husband came home with a gift. And when I asked what it was, he asked me to read the note. That gift was from the leader of the opposition, Olliver Jean-Baptiste. And it read, "To help you start again." All of this culminated in the election of 1979, when the Civil Service Union demanded a 60% salary increase. Now, I want to say to all of you businessmen here tonight, is there any metropolitan country where you have heard of such increases at once, or even in your business? Right? He was called arrogant when he said it couldn't be done. It was promised, and he lost the election. And St. Lucia was in turmoil for 2.5 years. And after losing that election, as is customary, the UWP, wishing to thank their supporters, planned a thank you meeting on the boulevard. To this day, I have never understood why certain members of the new government, having won the election convincingly, felt the need to create havoc and to have persons to bring buckets of excreta to throw on the participants of that meeting. That was one of the occasions when my husband was almost killed. There were about 3 occasions when he was almost killed. It was the late Clendon Mason, whose shirt he recognized, who saved his life, shouting to him to get out as persons tried to turn his vehicle over. Known as
Folks, if you don't have a good heart, I'm telling you, this one is getting very emotional. 3 times they tried to kill him. 3 times. Father of the nation. They had done their best to turn the nation against a man who all he wanted was good for his country. The nation was about to turn their back on the father of the nation. They were encouraged to bring buckets of poop, boom caca, to throw on them in the boulevard. They had won. They had won. They had won the election. And all Compton wanted to do was to thank the people of St. Lucia for their support. And the UWP have always been known in history to be a calm and respectful party. And they had to deal with those people in red. And the father of the nation was being hurt by his own people. A man who had sacrificed his everything for the country. a man whose love for his nation was beyond what we have ever seen in the archives of history. If you believe that you would not be able to watch the rest of this thing, maybe you can come back later and watch it, but I want to hear the whole thing, so that when I stand up on behalf of the United Workers' Party, that I can represent them like a true patriot. I can stand tall, understanding the legacy of Sir John Compton.
Plywood City, because they ransacked the city, and I can see some of you here tonight whose businesses suffered on that evening, but not many of you know the true cost of that evening. Today, we are happy to speak of the relationship St. Lucian athletes have with the Puma Sports Company. But not many of you know that in 1979, the Puma Shoe Company, the third largest shoe company in the world, was planning to open a factory in Vieux-Fort. Just as the Milton Bradley Games Company, then so popular, planned to do the same. Leon Hess was considering upgrading the cul-de-sac facility to a full refinery, which would have meant increased revenue for St. Lucia. All of this was lost on the night of Plywood City. What?
Did you hear, St. Lucians? Vieux-Fort have always suffered under the hands of the St. Lucia Labour Party. So Puma was going to be making sneakers in St. Lucia. St. Lucians, do you understand that you were going to have a factory, a Puma factory, the same Puma that is sponsoring our Julian? That factory, a factory, would have been making shoes, sneakers in Vieux-Fort. Do you understand what the Labour Party did during that time? You guys lost the factory and lost the development of Hess as a result of the destructive behavior of the St. Lucia Labour Party.
What might Vieux-Fort have been today? In my husband's despair, he would say that it was, and I quote, like filling a bucket with a teaspoon, and someone comes along and kicks it over, and you have to start again with a teaspoon. That was his experience when he returned to office 2.5 years later, when, just as he said, the country couldn't meet the 60% increase. And for 4 years, he would come home and say to me, I don't know how I'm going to do it this month. It was only in the 5th year that I saw his shoulders lifted, his smile returned, and his confidence restored. But not for long, because in the ensuing election, after all that hard work, the UWP won by a 1-seat majority. Heartbroken, he told me he would not continue, that he had worked so hard to restore things, and he contemplated on who could take over. He thought George Mallet, in whom he had great confidence, was his age, and someone younger should be considered. I suggested Romanus Lancico. It was a time when he could have chosen several ministers, but Romanus stood out. He was honest, hardworking. He worked to raise $1 million for Victoria Hospital, took his weekends to execute projects like building a bridge in the south, had given up a better paying job at Cable & Wireless to come and serve his country. He never abused his privileges as minister, even going as far to cut off his government phone at his home for a while because he felt his children were abusing its use. That was Romanus Lanstico. My husband called Romanus, who came to our house, and when he asked him to take over, Romanus sat for a while and then quietly said, "Sir, I won't do it. I came into this thing because of you. I won't stay without you." I'm telling you these stories tonight because there'll never be another 100th birthday. And these are not things we've spoken of, but you need to know. Because people tend to look, when you're in public life, you see nice things on the TV and everybody thinks, oh boy, it's all hunky-dory. But it wasn't all hunky-dory, you know? And so you must know both sides of the story. I wonder which minister of either side of the political spectrum would do what Romanus did today. John Compton was fortunate to have persons like George Mallet and Romanus Lanstico, who over all those years allowed him to get on with the business of government and never have to look over his shoulder to see if he was being knifed. My husband never liked.
Pay attention, folks. You heard what she said. Her husband had good men around him at the time that he did not have to worry whether somebody was going to stab him in the back, betray him. He did, and listen to the names that are being called, folks. This is your history. So John Compton was so comfortable that he knew he had no snakes at the time around him. Do you understand, folks, how serious this was? And I'm coming home soon. When I say coming home, we're going to talk about snakes. Well, not snakes and ladders, of course, but we're going to talk about snakes and knives. He didn't have to watch his back, Lady Compton said. He had good men around him.
Living at the Prime Minister's residence, feeling it wasn't his own home, but always saying that it was what the government provided. He ended up, however, living there for 15 years. And during that time, despite his ridiculous salary, he met the salaries of the household staff, with just the exception of the gardener. He provided everything needed to maintain the residence and even paid the utilities for 12 years. When he finally chose not to return in 1982, he never claimed expenses from the government, saying that it was his choice. The government provided him with a house, but it is his choice not to live there. Throughout all of this, he was called a devil, a traitor, and a thief. But in the words of Gloria Menal, who worked with him in the Prime Minister's office for over 20 years, the boss never took a glass of water from the people of St. Lucia.
Can any other government minister say the same? Never took a glass of water. He was called a thief or a crook. Same thing they're doing. Same playbook, friends. Same thing they're doing. The very same thing they're doing to Mr. Alan Chastney, the political leader of the United Workers' Party. Very same thing they're doing. Volley, give away our money, give away our lands. Is there anything new? Is there anything new? The hospital in Viewfort? Too big? A box? The airport too big? I never see upstairs and downstairs airport. Does that ring a bell to you, friends? Can a leopard change its skin? That's the question. But let's listen, of course. I'm just babbling here.
Office never changed him. He remained true to himself. He liked to live simply, preferring to drive himself and preferring his pickup to any fancy car. And I'd like to just remember the late Andrew Richardson, Dr. Andrew Richardson, who most of you would know, who would tell me that when he came to live in St. Lucia, when he was offered a job in St. Lucia, and he came from Trinidad, he was driving along the waterfront, and he saw this beaten up old pickup coming along the road. And wow, he turned his head because it was the Prime Minister. And he thought, this is a place to live. I came from sirens and outriders, but this is a place to live. He found time for our children, checking their homework, fixing their lunch kits on a morning, teaching each of them to drive when he could have asked our driver. He took the children every summer to the estate for a few days to give me a break, and found the time to take Nina and Fiona to see their horses at Cap before school on a morning. Together, we raised 5 amazing children who, despite the immense exposure in which we lived, are 5 children with their feet firmly on the ground, who have each gone out and made their way on their own without ever using their father's name, and who have each given back to their beloved St. Lucia. They have each tried to assist the foundation, as I mentioned before. Those who decided to stay here have suffered a little for being John Compton's child, but like their father, they have let it wash off. Before my husband left office, he would keep telling me that he had to leave because St. Lucians didn't want to hear his voice anymore. He was saddened. He had worked so hard for so many years, had sacrificed financially, working for a salary he joked was way below all the young men working at Cable and Wireless, that he must be in scale 26. He left office with a pension of $2,777 EC after serving in the Parliament of St. Lucia for 43 years, 30 of them as leader of the government. He had no choice but at the age of 71 to go back to work. But he had never allowed that to deter him, to bring him down, or make him bitter. After leaving office, he would be denied a parking space near his office, be threatened that he could have a diplomatic passport, but that should he ever dare to put his foot on a political platform again, it would be ripped from him. He never again sought a diplomatic passport and died as Prime Minister without one. You see this?
Oh my God. Solutions. Did you hear what Lady Compton said? And those SLPs were sitting there, you know. Did you hear what that woman said? The man left government with a over $2,000 pension and had to go back to work, of course, at that age, 70. And he had given all his money in service to the nation. And then they tried to deny him parking. And then they threatened him that if he tried to get a diplomatic passport, what would happen to him? So John Compton died without a diplomatic passport. The great leader of the nation. After all the punishment of the Labour Party, was hurt by his people. Felt abandoned by a nation. Treated him like a dog. And then you had the political pit bulls circling around him, hoping that I would be selected as the next leader of the United Workers' Party. They circled him. Instead of looking out for the interests of Sir John in his last days, they were looking for themselves. And I believe some of them are suffering the wages of their transgressions. They are suffering. And they are going through confusion. And those who have joined hands with the St. Lucia Labour Party to defeat the United Workers' Party have not understood the sufferings of Sir John Compton. And they have joined with the nation to trample and to spit on the legacy of a great leader and all his sweat and blood. It is best you leave the United Workers' Party and you go independent than for you to leave the United Workers' Party and join the Labour Party. You are spitting on the legacy, the sufferings of a great leader. And my prediction is you will never, ever succeed in your political life. It will be always confusion, tainted with confusion and nastiness.
Things never meant anything to him. I've shared some of these stories, as I said, because people think when you hold high office and they see all the nice moments on TV that this is all of your life. John Compton was a rare human being. He suffered greatly at the hands of his adversaries and their supporters. He never forgot, but he never held any of it, and in fact continued to assist many of them and their families as he did all St. Lucians. Vindictiveness was definitely not a trait of his, and because of his example, he was able to keep his government on an even keel. I shall always be thankful to those St. Lucians who showed him so much love in his last days, so that when he passed, he knew that he was loved. We laid his ashes to rest in the places he loved in St. Lucia and in Canouan, where among the places they rest is in the church in Canouan where he was baptized. There they rest in a wall behind the beautiful words of Derek Walcott, specially written for him by Derek. I married a man who gave his best and his all for this country, who my children and I were honored to walk with all those years. I doubt St. Lucia will ever again have someone who will give so selflessly and completely for 43 years, someone who bore no malice, someone, in the words of one of his ministers, whose love for St. Lucia was pure, and who has left his footprints all over this island for the benefit of all. Thank you all for coming to remember him.
And you can see Mr. Favre there. I'm going to leave Mr. Favre picture there for a while, because this is the man, and I can see Raquel and all the folks there. This is the man. And I see Mr. Dibole. This is the man who I am asking you guys to vote in and remove King immediately. As soon as that bell is rung, I want you to remove King, because he spat on the legacy of Sir John Compton. And I'm glad that Stephen was sitting there and could have experienced the pain, the hardship that John Compton went through. And I said to him, be strong, my brother. There are many others who have been mistreated in the nation. Be strong. Be of good courage. Stay away from nastiness. And let's take the torch that John Compton lit many years ago and keep it burning throughout St. Lucia. Time for a reset. Nothing new, friends. And I'm asking all United Workers' Party supporters to take a time out. And I want you to reflect on the legacy and service of Sir John Compton. Not a perfect man, but he was the right man for the job. Not a perfect, but the right man for the job. And he did the job with every fiber of his being. He did the job well. He did the job well. I am saying to you, United Workers' Party supporters, I am saying to the United Workers' Party supporters, take a time out for reflection. Get back to the drawing board, supporters. I want you to calm down. Cursing people's mother and getting angry with people is not going to help nation building. Reflect on the legacy of Sir John and the sufferings that he went through. But his faith saw him through. He was determined to build a better St. Lucia. He was determined to build foundations that would have lasted throughout the ages in the country. And he digged those foundations deep. And no matter how King tried to root them up, friends, he can never prevail. Because these foundations are not the airport foundations that they pull up in Viewfort. It is not the St. Jude's Foundation that they're doing pappy shop there with. But these are foundations. None of them can uproot. Not even the backsliders in the United Workers' Party can uproot it. And think about it. Think about it. You guys are mad. From the time John Compton departed this life, you are mad because you didn't get the position. You are mad because you were removed from the position. You are mad because you are not the political leader. You are mad because you are not this and you are not that. And you know what you do? Because you're full of yourself. You spat on his grave. And you know what you did? You blame Alan Shastney. This Alan Shastney we don't like. Get rid of him and we'll come back. You guys were telling us to get rid of John Compton. A matter of fact, you wanted to get rid of him. And you did everything in your power. Everything in your power to get him out of the way. But you did not prevail, because today, even in his death, his history is in your face. And there is nothing you can do about that history that is before you. You can't erase it. You can't rewrite it. You can say all what you want. You can try to put Philip Japert in front of him. It can never work. John Compton is John Compton. And John Compton will ever remain the founding father or the father of the nation. He will always be the architect of Rodney Bay, of Cul-de-sac, of Viewfort, of Dennery, of Soufriere. He will ever be remember throughout the length and breadth, and every time you drink water from the John Compton's dam, every mouthful that you take in St. Lucia, you will be reminded why you are drinking that water. Yeah? You will remember. And some of you have no shame. Because of him, you got an educational footing. Because of him, you are still alive because you have better water to drink. How dare King stand before the citizens of St. Lucia and make such a ridiculous statement against the father of the nation who had suffered lost, but kept his head up in hope that one day the Labour Party will cool off, that one day they will come to their senses, that one day they will stop burning things and they will stop destroying things in the country. That one day they will change. That one day they will tone it down. That one day they would think about country first. And back to you, UWPs, who are spitting daily on his legacy. Refocus. This is about nation building. It is about doing right by people. And ever since his death, his throat cutting and stabbing in the back and betrayal, ever since he's gone, we have been seeing it in the party. Whoever leader will be there will experience it too. The worst battle to fight is internal. At least we knew that the Labour Party would come with boom kaka, but you don't know who on the inside is with the boom kaka waiting. So I say in this emotional plead to the United Workers' Party, hold that torch high and let's get back to nation building. You have an honorable man in the person of Alan Chastney. Hold his hands up. Hold it up. Because he is our John Compton of our time. And it's reflected in the St. Jude Hospital, what he wanted to do. It's reflected in our airports. It's reflected, friends, in what he wanted to do for Vieux Fort. It is reflected in the healthcare system. Don't you ever allow these people to tell you that the United Workers' Party is bad for St. Lucia. The United Workers' Party have never been in history bad for the country. So resettle yourself, UWPs. Some of you need to go back to church. Backsliders, you need to go back to church. Some of you need to get some principles. Some of you need to get rid of the bottles. Some of you need to go back home to your wives. We need to get back, friends, to decency. And I'm not saying John Compton was not, a hot fella or whatever it is with sweet mouth. I am sure he had his sweet mouth. But I'm saying he did well by St. Lucia. He did well by St. Lucia. And tonight, I can publicly declare that I embrace the legacy of Sir John Compton. And I will ever be committed to the cause of the United Workers' Party. But I dare anyone in the party to tell me that I am not UWP enough. because I am not here for anything from you. I am here because I understood from a young boy, Sir John Compton, I understood from a young boy, through my stepfather and my family, the legacy of Sir John. I understood the cause, the mission, the assignment of the party. And I have never turned to the left or to the right. Two things I am in life. A Seventh-day Adventist Christian, and I'm proud of it. And I'm a United Workers' Party strong. I am here to help make a difference in the party. Sometimes we falter. But come on, for God's sake, quit you like men. Let's get back to work. But all the rumors and the nastiness that you spread on each other, the name calling, it's distraction. It is distracting you from the cause, from the mission. So be proud. Be proud. Lady Compton made her mistakes. Maybe out of passion and emotions and everything else and confusion. But what she delivered tonight, I am proud of her. What she delivered was a message to the SLP and a message to King. Don't try it. John Compton belongs to the United Workers' Party. It is not his party. He's not the owner. He's dead, of course. But the party is the people's party. And the party will continue to attract new people. And old people will leave. Some will leave disgruntled. And all of them, when you look at them, those who leave is because of position and money. I ain't get what I want, I gone. The vision dead. Ain't no vision anymore. I sell my vision to the SLP. How can you sell your vision or your UWP boudin to the SLP to embrace what? Huh? So before you think of doing what you're planning to do, go watch this video again and pull yourself up, man. Pull yourself together and get to work. Yeah? Good. Yeah. Now, let me say something. I'm going to open the lines. I want to hear from two of you. I want you to let me know tell me your feelings about this presentation tonight. I want to hear from you. I'm going to give you a few minutes and then I'm gone because I really I got to reflect. And a lot of things are going to change on this platform going forward. Nobody's going to disrespect Sir John Compton on my platform. No. So, folks, I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, I want you, you hear what I'm saying? To call. I'm going to take 2 or 3 calls and then we'll call it a day. All right? We don't have no long drama going through. 2 calls and we'll call it a day.
Stevenson King and Kenson Casimir stopped the $15 million Rodney Bay Highway expansion project because they said the project was overpriced. Now they have to pay the contractor $21 million and are borrowing an additional $50 million to complete the same road. This is wrong. You deserve better. Vote UWP to make it right. Philip J. Pierre, Stevenson King, and Kenson Casimir stopped the $15 million Rodney Bay Highway expansion project because they said the project was overpriced. Now they have to pay the contractor $21 million and are borrowing an additional $50 million to complete the same road. This is wrong. You deserve better. Vote UWP to make it right. Philip J. Pierre, Stevenson King.
All right, we're back. The number is on 99586-1821. Folks, I'm getting a whole lot of texts, but there's some SLP hacks who are trying to distract me, of course, on the platform. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So let's open the lines and let us see if we can get at least one or two calls on the platform, and then I'm out of here. All right? Good. I am out. I wasn't expecting to spend a long time on this, but it was worth it as far as I'm concerned. It was worth it, and a whole lot of stuff got to change. A whole lot of stuff must change so that we can keep the fire going. I'll tell you, you're going to be hearing from me going forward. Private groups, you'll be hearing a whole lot. Now I'm hearing, and I don't like to just come out and say I'm hearing stuff, but I'm hearing that the possibility is there that they will come after Guy Joseph and Alan Chastney closer to the elections. Listen to me, there is a God who sits high and looks low. I am not concerned about that. You heard what I'm saying? Unrighteousness will never prevail in the land. And I maintain that. If Alan Chastney and Guy Joseph have done nothing wrong, I am not afraid. You should not be afraid or concerned. Let them do what they want. If the Labour Party want to come, like they wanted not to give the man a parking spot, or they did not want him to have diplomatic passport, if that's what they want to continue, that's their legacy, let them write their history. Let them write their history. Somebody, not me, in the future, if Christ don't come, will be here doing the very same thing that I'm doing. And history will still not be right to them. Yeah? So let them go if that's what they want. But all I can say to some of you, and many of you, and I have to chastise some of you tonight. Yes, you talk about John Compton. Yeah, you love the party, you love the UWP. Let me ask, how many of you are doing something to help the cause? How many of you are engaged? How many of you are talking to people? No, you're cussing everybody you see. How many of you are really talking to people? How many of you are talking to people about the goodness of the United Workers' Party and the mission, the vision? How many of you? No, you spend more time cussing and insulting. That needs to stop. Another question. How many of you are registered to vote? How many of you know exactly where you're voting? And let me ask you another question. As a proud St. Lucian, like you say you are, how many of you in the diaspora know where you're going to vote? Let me ask another question. How many of you, if an election is called in December or in January, how many of you are sure that your names are on the list? You're keeping a whole lot of noise all over the place. Whole lot of noise. Because if you're not registered and you're keeping a whole lot of noise, it is only noise. How many of you know your polling division? How many of you know where you are voting? Question Amadi. So that's what I'm saying. Forget about the nastiness. Get back to work. Don't talk about me. Get back to work. I know exactly where I'm voting. I know my name is on the list. I went down and I made it my business, my duty, to ensure that I'm on the list. And I monitor it every day. Every time I come home, I go and look for it. So I know it's there. I'm monitoring it like a hawk. But you keep a lot of noise. And you don't know where you are voting. Where you voting? Qui kote ou ka vote? Babono, Castries, Bexon, Denry, ko ka vote? So, get to work, folks. Get to work. Let's hold up the torch of Sir John Compton. But let us get to work. Check your ID cards. Those of you in the diaspora, You don't know where you're voting? Call me. If you don't know, call me on either of my numbers. If you can't get me, leave a text message. I will help you find where you're supposed to put your, what do you call it, your tikwa, of course. Check, friends. Yeah. I don't know if something is wrong with my telephone, with the thing, like anything else, of course. But I think I'm going to go now. Let me ensure that we did not leave anything out. So we did a View Fort, event. Let's see if we can do it again for View Fort South, all right? And support the View Fort. Oh, good. I have a promotion. Here. Let's take this call. Call you on the air. Caribbean American News Media Platform. You're on the air.
Brother Garfield, good evening. How you doing, my friend?
Not bad at all. Ian saved the night. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. I just want to bring to your attention two matters.
Talk to me.
One, to make you aware that Ernest Seeley says listen to this carefully, St. Lucia and Brother Garfield. Ernest Seeley to discuss the Eldridge Charles matter, because you know from what Miss Eldridge Charles said on Newspin day before that Mr. Ernest Seeley was formally charged with an assault based on a summons to appear in court on Thursday, December 4th. So he was formally charged for assault via a summons to appear in court. So this is the stupidity of Ernest Seeley.
Talk to me.
So Ernest Seeley put on his Facebook page like a few minutes ago that he's having a press conference, but it's not going to be live, that they're going to be updates. Have you ever heard that any government official is convening or having a press conference and it's not broadcast live?
That's not a press conference. That's a recorded
That's
statement.
not a press conference. Exactly. Furthermore, why would you want to convene as you are defendant in a matter? Why would you want to convene a press conference to discuss a matter that is before the court?
Well,
especially
I would expect the Prime Minister to make a statement, seeing that one of his ministers was charged.
But you know the Prime Minister, we know the spineless, incompetent, leaderless Prime Minister we have called Philip J. Pierre. He will not do that. But I'm saying to Ernest Seeley, no amount of spinning, no amount of deceitfulness or deceit, if there's such a word, would save you. It is obvious, and I don't want to prejudice the case on your platform.
No, go ahead.
But Ernest Seeley, face the music. It cannot be right that you're a government official, you're the Deputy Prime Minister. You were formally charged by a summons to appear in court on Thursday, December 4th. And you're going to convene a press conference tomorrow, and it's not broadcast live. So who are you talking to, Ernest Seeley?
Well,
who are you talking to, and what are you going to say at that press conference?
Well,
the
will say
responsible
what
thing
he's
to...
accustomed of saying, that he's innocent, and the matter, he will, his lawyers will take care of it. That's what he will say and close. That's all he can say. He can't go into details, I'm sure. But the Prime Minister should issue a statement as to one of his ministers being charged in the country.
Exactly. So I want to see this bogus, this ridiculous press conference that Ernest Seeley is going to have tomorrow. I wait and see. But it's not a press conference. It's a report, because a press conference is something that is open to question and answer, and is broadcast live so the whole country can see. That's not a press conference, like you rightly said, Brother Garfield. That's a report.
Or he's going to say to the people, I was not charged.
He was charged based on the document is, I think, it's making its rounds now on social media. He was formally charged based on the summons for assault. So we wait and see. I'm watching. Like I said on Newspin a few weeks ago, we all have to keep our eyes open on this case because it cannot be right that justice is only for a few and not for all.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you some clips. Two last things quickly.
Talk to me.
And we have to expose the nastiness of the St. Lucia Labour Party. They are at it again.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reliably informed that the Labour Party, the St. Lucia Labour Party government, will wait when the Prime Minister announces the date of elections to press formal charges via the special prosecutor against Guy Joseph and Alan Chastney. I want to say to the St. Lucia Labour Party that we're on to you. We know your nastiness. We know what you're planning. And no amount of when the Prime Minister decides, when Philippe decides to call the date, announce the date of general elections, for you to pull a fast one and try to press charges against Alan Chastney and Guy Joseph, that will change the outcome of the general election. 4.5 years, you installed a special prosecutor. So far, as we speak, you have not found not one single thing, shred of evidence that would say that Guy Joseph or Alan Chastney was corrupt. But you're going to plan that when Philippe decides to call an election, Philippe calls an election, that you're going to have the special prosecutor announce charges against Alan Chastney and Guy Joseph. St. Lucia Labour Party, we on to your nastiness. And that is why I'm exposing it, Brother Garfield, early, and I'll continue to expose it at every single opportunity I get. Because we have to expose the nastiness of the St. Lucia Labour Party. I don't know what's your take on that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, there ain't much they can do when it comes to, because the fight is a spiritual one, and nothing beats prayer, so injustice cannot stand. I don't think that will work. Especially you say that they will come out with charges close to the possibility is that's going to happen closer to the elections. Hey, they can try all what they want. There's what you call a higher power, God Almighty, who sets up kings and take them down. Just like he brought down the Alan Chastney administration, he can bring down the Labour Party and put up Alan Chastney. So I'm not worried about that, So we got to watch the space and see, the kind of deals that these fellas are going to do.
Exactly. And I'm putting it out there to you, Brother Garfield, and your listeners. The St. Lucia Labour Party is desperate. They will do anything to win this coming election. They will kill if they have to. And I'm being very serious here. The St. Lucia Labour Party and the surrogates, those who have the fat contracts, those who have the cushy jobs in the missions and elsewhere, they do not want to lose that. They will do anything in the world to win this election.
Yeah, but that one will not
our
work.
duty.
Special prosecutor, that's not going to work. Trust me.
It's not going to work because the people of St. Lucia have recognized the corn of the St. Lucia Labour Party. The people of St. Lucia have already realized the deceit of the St. Lucia Labour Party. You appointed a special prosecutor, 4.5 years. He's in office. I'm getting a fat salary every month, while the people in the rural communities who are suffering cannot send their children to school. The hospitals do not have medication. The polyclinics, X-ray machines are down, not working for months. There are no beds at the hospitals. People now are suffering. There's the price of gas is $16 at the pump, and people are reeling under the price of high gas.
Yeah.
You have a man that you employed as a special prosecutor, earning a fat salary, not doing nothing, but on the 11th hour, you will pull a stunt to try to fool people when you announce a date of election to say you're pressing charges against Alan Chastney and Guy Joseph.
Yeah,
Philippe, we are on to you, and we're going to expose your nastiness.
Thank you, bro. I have another call coming in. Thank you so much.
All right, my brother. Have a blessed one and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we have another call that will be coming in shortly, but let me just say this. Please, let me tell you something. We got to support GVD TV, of course. And I'm asking you business people to get on board. We got to support. Remember that GVD TV was always out there breaking news. They were always on the scene. Yeah, they were always out there, and then the others would either take their work or they would pre-record and all these kind of things. So let's try to get our GVD TV, in the mix. Let's use them. They have been there with us. Let's support GVD TV channel 115. And that is Flow, of course. Please support them, friends. One minute, caller.
La vie en pays, qu'il t'ait musique nouvelle, toute bagaille, c'est GVD qui a fait nous vivants. GVD TV, ça c'est nous-mêmes. Nous en quel pays à nous cabrier tout le temps. GVD TV, faut nous mettre l'en main. Pour sentir ici, continuer à avancer. GVD TV, ça c'est la vie nous. GVD TV, ensemble nous cabrier toujours. GVD TV.
All right, that is GVD TV channel 115. We have a caller, our final call on the air. Caller, you are online.
Yes, good night, Brother Garfield.
Yes, sir.
I just want to add what Ian was saying, and you were saying as well, but we want to bring it down in live action. What is happening in Central Castries there with Stanley Felix, and Stanley Felix going on Newsmaker Live just goes to show you. And the Prime Minister is trying to be ridiculous and saying that he's not going to say what Stanley Felix told him or what happened, what transpired. The man said that Philip JP and his administration betrayed him, let him lose his pension just before he's getting his pension. He entered in a secret deal with Richard Frederick, which was his good friend before. Both of them was housing minister in Central Castries for over 10 years each. Richard Frederick was there under Stephenson King for 5 years as housing minister. He came back again as housing minister under the Labour Party. Stanley Felix was housing minister for 10 years. My point, what I'm trying to show you, my brother, you see, Philip JP has always been that guy in the background, deputy prime minister of Kenny Anthony, and all those different things. And in 2021, he would have done anything to win the election, even betray his long-serving comrade. That's what Stanley Felix. I'm not saying that, Stanley Felix said, the man, that's what you do to your comrade. For 20 years, we sit down by each other in the same party, but you went to secret deals. Yeah. So my point is, my brother, I just want to tell Central Castries is that Stanley Felix is back again, and Stanley Felix is not healed. He's not healed.
Yeah.
You can see his eye on the show. He's either come for revenge to break the back of the Solution Labour Party. That is them. What they want to do with each other, because it's comrades versus comrades, and the lies and the. So my point is, my brother, Stanley Felix is not healed. Stanley Felix is basically broke, I guess, because he said he lost his pension, he lost everything. Yeah. So he's making a to try to build back. And it's always Central Castries that is the punching bag for all those guys. Richard Frederick himself, he said he's going to build condos this 5 years, get him over $20 million. It was $10 million first, but in Richard Frederick True Housing, it's $20 million. And then you're going to tell us if they're going to give you another chance, then the condo is going to be built. One more thing again, Garfield. Yeah. He's asking Philip J. his report card. But Philip J. you were a report card. If the numbers in Monitor School, the two biggest, the Blue Wave and Richard Frederick. You remember when Richard Frederick's talk show every Thursday night had over 2,000 viewers, 1.5 viewers.
Yeah.
That is a number. That is, so you're not seeing Castries, Northern Castries Central till you'll move your ASS out of office. That is the number of people you'll have. That same day they had that meeting at the Monitor Primary School. That's the same day Stanley Felix was on Timothy talk show. In my closing, my brother, Philip J. betrayed his long-time comrade, which was Stanley Felix and Kenny Anthony, by making Richard Frederick come into, and Stanley Felix said that he never fought Richard Philip JP would have bring Stanley Felix in the cabinet because Philip JP promised me he wouldn't do that. Kenny Anthony before in 2016 said that he will never serve under a cabinet with Richard Frederick. Philip JP still did that. So that is what I'm trying to tell you, my brothers and sisters. That what happened with the deals I've been making in 2021 to win that general election. It wouldn't happen in 2026. The writing is already on the wall. Rush Clark for Central, and on a full sweep, all 17 candidates, UWP will make it up. And that is by the grace of God, I'm telling you that, brother, because we're leading with God in front of us. I'm not just telling you, all what I'm telling you there is God that's speaking there. The United Workers' Party will have all 17 seats by the grace of God, because we are fighting a righteous war against the evil and iniquity that have been plaguing our country for all those years. And those guys have turned away from God. And you remember, my brother, in Israel, before I go, when the high priest of Israel went and looked for David, you remember that story?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was the youngest of what's his name, Jesse's son, named King, the youngest of Jesse's son, which was David, a humble shepherd.
Yeah, shepherd boy.
All the other older brothers was one end, but why God didn't pick them?
Yep.
The reason why God didn't pick them, because they themselves didn't know God. But the young, humble shepherd boy, David, and then he slew Goliath.
Yes, he was humble, full of humility. Yep. And he trusted the Lord.
That is where we are today, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
That is where we are today, my brother. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.
To all the Flubbo people, that we are on God's side. The light is on our side. No matter where we go, our light will shine because we are on the right side of history. Have a blessed one, my brother.
You too. Thank you, my brother. That was our last caller, folks. Gotta go. So thank you so much for being here with us. It's truly a privilege and a pleasure to have been here. Tonight, we didn't have any major glitches or problems with our system, but thank you so much for your love and your support. We continue to pray. Remember to go out there and be good to others. Be kindly affectionate one towards the other. Be peaceful. Be peacemakers and not ferocious, my friends. Good night. So long. Bye-bye.
Caribbean American News Media, your Tuesday night power hour. Live every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Olliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines, we cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, be part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media, the news you report.